All right, let's chop it up with Peter King, the Monday morning quarterback. Carson Wentz out. It was a magnificent football game. What's your takeaway? We just heard from Doug Peterson. He's out for the year. Another quarterback gone. Does it change the NFC to you?
I think it changes the NFC because Carson Wentz and the Eagles, to me, were going to be the favorites and probably get home field throughout the playoffs. Now, I'm not sure if they'll get home field throughout the playoffs. They should be able to win at least 2 of their last 3, with Nick Foles. And Nick Foles is a good player. He's a good, average to good backup NFL quarterback who's had some good moments in the NFL. And so, look, I mean, they're probably in as good a shape as they can be right now, Colin. But I still think right now on a neutral field, there's 2 or 3 teams probably right now better than the Eagles without Carson Wentz.
I'm watching Jared Goff, and Wentz is a greater talent. He's more like Andrew Luck, where he could carry a bad team. I mean, Andrew Luck went 11-5, 11-5, 11-5 with almost no Pro Bowlers. But I was sitting there watching Sean McVay and their sets and their timing and their play calling. First drive of the game, first drive of the second half, masterful. And I'm thinking to myself, he reminds me of this generation's Bill Walsh, but I don't remember Bill Walsh when he was a Cub. Go back to Bill Walsh early. Did he remind you of McVay where we were all going, wow, this is a new offense?
Well, that was before I covered the NFL. That was in my he got that job the last year I was at Ohio University. But what I remember early on about Walsh is that he was going to run the West Coast offense no matter what you did to him. And he was going to make the tight end really, really important. And he was going to make a quarterback who didn't have tremendous physical gifts, Joe Montana, as long as he was smart and accurate, he was going to make his offense centered around that. Basically, in a different way, it's kind of what Andy Reid has done with Alex Smith. In a different way, though, because the Kansas City Chiefs are, Andy Reid told me yesterday, he says, Houdini would be proud of us.
Yeah.
And essentially, that's what the Chiefs do so much, razzmatazz. But I do think right now, when you look at Sean McVay, you look at ways for him. I think what he does better than anybody I've ever seen is to create legal picks.
Yeah.
And that he'll never get called for. But he creates enough traffic so that his guy is always going to be open. One of his guys is going to come out of this traffic jam, and he's going to be open. It's all legal.
Yeah.
It's just really, really smart route combinations.
I was saying this earlier, Peter King, the Monday morning quarterback, joining us, that I use Gene Hackman as an example, that Hackman, he wasn't as cool as Brando, so early in his career he was overlooked, and he wasn't as cool as Nicholson or Pacino later in his career, and you look up and Gene Hackman has like 15 movies that are incredible, and Big Ben, I mean, he's really one of the great actors of our time, multiple Oscars, but he was overshadowed early by Brando and Sean Connery, and then late by De Niro, Pacino, and Nicholson. Big Ben's never been as polished as Brady, as brainy or as funny on Saturday Night Live as Manning. He's never been as likable or as country in middle America as Favre. But I watched him last night, Peter. 5 football fields. He is now 40 and like 14 in December. He's incredible in his division. He's remarkable on these standalone late games on NBC or Monday night. Have we possibly overlooked Big Ben just a tad?
Colin, I couldn't agree with you more. I think last night was such a beautiful example of how good Ben Roethlisberger is, because watch the way he played in this game. And the way he played in this game is he said, hey, Ravens, we don't trust your deep safety. In fact, we think you're only going to play a single high safety today. And so I'm throwing it up against Brandon Carr and whoever else with Antonio Brown. And I'm just going to count on him making an incredible number of plays. And he did. And I think it's because the Ravens wanted so badly to stop Le'Veon Bell and to prevent him from beating them. And in this game, the more I watched it, the more I just said, Ben Roethlisberger is so much at one with his receivers, particularly Antonio Brown. He just throws it up there and he knows he's going to go get it. And about him being underrated, to me, I think one of the things about Roethlisberger that's very interesting, I want to take you back in time, almost a decade. I went to Reno, Nevada, and where a bunch of quarterbacks were playing in a golf tournament.
I was there. I remember that, yes.
Okay, all right. So I go to this golf tournament. I had arranged, this took me 3 months to do, but I got some young quarterbacks. I got Aaron Rodgers. I got Matt Ryan. I got Carson Palmer. And I got Ben Roethlisberger to agree to sit in a room and to talk about football, to talk about the art of quarterbacking. And you could just tell the other four guys were so into it. And Roethlisberger just said, man, I just want to go hit some golf balls. and it was just one of those days where, hey, maybe he just said, hey, I didn't come here to talk about football. I came here to play golf. But I think all those other guys were so interested in the science of the position. And Ben Roethlisberger said, hey, when it's training camp, I'm going to go out and play. Right now, I want to go play golf. And I found it so interesting because he's not one of those guys who talks about the science of the game or anything like that. He just, hey, give me the ball. I'm going to go out and fling it, and we're going to score.
That's great. I saw him in a golf tournament in Simi Valley his rookie year with Alex Smith, and his physical presence blew me away. He was so big.
He's a big dude.
He's a really big dude. So I'm looking at Aaron Rodgers, and do you think Mike McCarthy, I said this earlier to Kristine, that if I was Mike McCarthy, I'd go up and I'd say, Aaron, what is your call? Then I'd go to my doctors and say, what is your call? I think if you're Mike McCarthy, it's not really your call, is it?
No. It's the doctors are going to tell him whether Aaron Rodgers is ready, and Rodgers is going to tell him how he feels. I think Rodgers is chomping at the bit. For the last 2 weeks, you've seen him on video making a lot of throws before games and looking fine. And I saw one close-up. I think it was Fox that did this. I saw one close-up, and it showed him like throwing a ball that looked like it was kind of a deep ball, maybe 30 yards downfield, and not wincing at all. So I'm just assuming that either most or all of the pain is gone. But look, the Green Bay Packers are not going to say, hey, Aaron, even if you got some pain, man, we really need you. We'll wrap you up really tight. Don't worry about it. If there's a chance he's going to re-break this collarbone, there's absolutely no way he's going to play.
And I know that Eli stole, the hearts of New York yesterday. But I was sitting there watching Dak, and Dez had a couple of early drops. They were missing 2 guys in the secondary. The running back had some legal issues. Jerry wanted to sue Goodell. The offensive line lost their left tackle. They didn't have Sean Lee. There's been noise around the organization. And then Dak goes into, a chaotic scene, stands in, makes throws, could get frustrated. There's something about Dak. I don't think it's the arm or the legs. I got to tell you, there's so much noise around the Cowboys this year. I watch Dak, and even this weekend, I'm like, you know what? There's something about this kid. I know he's not a great all-time Wentz talent, but I don't know if you were at that game yesterday, but there's just something about Dak. I thought it was an impressive performance.
No question about it. And here's the thing about Dak Prescott. Look, his throw yesterday, in my opinion, his throw to Jason Witten right up the seam for the go-ahead touchdown, I thought was just a thing of beauty. And if you talk about the noise, okay, I think it's really interesting to see the quarterbacks and the players who can survive in the middle of noise.
Yeah.
Okay? And to me, Deshaun Watson, he can survive in the middle of noise. Carson Wentz, going from North Dakota to Philadelphia, the cauldron of the NFL, he can survive because he says, hey, it's just football. And so to me, I look at Dak Prescott, and he doesn't get caught up in all the crapola. Just play football. Go out there and play. He doesn't get nervous. He doesn't get tight. You don't see him with happy feet or gripping the football too hard. He just plays football. That's why I'm convinced he's the Dallas quarterback for the next 12 years.
Just about 30 seconds here. Do you have a Hall of Fame vote?
I do.
What do you do with Phillip Rivers?
I wait until 5 years after he stops playing, and I see if he deserves it. And I know that that's a cop-out, Colin. I really do. But I remember at the end of Kurt Warner's career where everybody said, oh, my God, absolutely. No doubter. 2 teams in the Super Bowl. Some of the greatest years a quarterback ever had. What a story, everything like that. I said, let's let the emotion die down. about this guy. Give him his time. And it took whatever it took, maybe 8 years or whatever, for him to make it. And I mean, Phillip Rivers is not going to be a no-doubter because he doesn't have the Super Bowls.
Right.
But I look on his candidacy favorably. I think he's been a really competitive, really good quarterback for a long time in an era of great quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's a good answer, and I'm with you on him. I'd like to see one extended playoff run, a couple more big regular seasons, but I'm enjoying what he's doing now. And if I was the Patriots and Steelers, I'd want no part of that Charger pass rush. I'd want no part of it.
And I'd want no part of Keenan Allen either. That guy is great.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from the newest show on FS1, First Things First, with Chris Carter and Nick Wright.